We are progressing on the recording, Michael. Do you like that?
I do like it. What I don't like is my notes today for the show. They seem rather glum. Russia and Ukraine are planting a false flag for an invasion, and it's Putin's last grand shot at infamy. He wants to be the new Stalin, but he's too short, so he needs Ukraine for that. And that would wake up the Poles, wouldn't it? Instead of talking about Build Back Better, instead of going to war about voting rights, we'd be in a border skirmish with the former Soviet Union.
Yeah, which we absolutely. I gotta run and turn the TV down quickly. Yeah, we don't need that. But I don't know if there's going to be a way to avoid that.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what we could do to dissuade them.
I mean,
they're being rather risky about it, don't you think?
Well, yeah, and we are no longer the most powerful country in the world. I mean, let's face it. We are quickly turning into Russia and China's spank boys.
Well, we can't be the most powerful nation in the world if we are completely brought to our knees by Kristen Sinema, whatever her name is.
Yeah, and Joe Manchin. You can't be president. You can't be the most powerful country in the world if those two clowns can bring you to your knees. Imagine what a dictator or a somebody with well, we don't have to imagine. Look at what Donald Trump did to us.
There you go.
Years.
And nobody stopped him from doing anything. There was no Kristen Sinema when he was in the presidency. She had nothing to say then. Joe Manchin had nothing to do in those days. He didn't step forward to say, I'm going to put a stop to this. None of that. He was as quiet as a church mouse. And church mice are not especially quiet, but they just have a good reputation because they live in a church.
I was going to say, I've been in some churches when there have been mice around.
And they scurry and they make just as much noise as anybody else on their little toes.
Yeah, the only thing is you rarely see a mice drop any money into the collection basket. So,
and if you why they're there? They're there for the wafers, like a lot of people are. Those wafers, if you're a mouse, they're delicious. I know they're rather tasteless if you're religiously inclined. There's not a lot of flavors. You just say, no, I don't want the licorice wafer. Could I please have pumpkin pie wafer?
Well, throughout various times in history, I believe that the Catholic Church has tried different
flavors.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I had heard that they had tried, some dioceses had tried chocolate wafers.
Why don't they just do pasta and get it over with, and you could have a little sauce?
Well, I think a well-baked piece of Italian bread with a little olive oil on it.
I'm good with that.
Would go a long way to get people back to church.
Could I have a little balsamic vinegar with the olive oil?
Yeah.
Would that be asking too much?
Yeah, that the whole idea in the beginning of this whole thing was Christ sitting at the table with the guys, taking a piece of bread and breaking it off and saying, remember me when you eat bread.
And pass the olive oil and the balsamic vinegar, if you don't mind.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what they had in those days. And it worked out okay. I mean, it got 12 guys to go all over the known world at the time, espousing the benefits of this Jesus Christ guy.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, those 12 guys were humanoids, and they got a lot of fame and they got a lot of respect and a lot of notoriety. But what about the church mice? They go everywhere.
Well,
and they spread the news in their own way.
Yeah, but you see, the problem is when you have the church mice, they tend to eat the body of Christ.
Well, that was the intention, wasn't it? Wasn't that the whole idea?
Yeah, but not in the quantities.
They're going to eat it all.
Yeah, see, they're not going to leave you a lot.
Well, what about Protestant mice? Did they get nothing? Yeah. They get nothing. They don't get the wine. They don't get the wafer. They don't get pumpkin pie. They don't get anything.
Can't help you there, Mikey.
That's why they're poor.
As a card carrying Catholic, you know that it's illegal for me to go into any other type of church.
Could I see your card, please? Your Catholic card?
Yeah, I have it. It's in my wallet. It's in my wallet. It says
It's in my wallet. I keep it
Yeah,
right on, or keep it right behind my driver's license.
I do. I keep it behind my Medicaid card, my driver's license, and my Captain Video membership card.
Now, if you were a card carrying Catholic, could you just leave it home in the bureau drawer, or do you have to carry the card?
Depends on where you're going.
Well, let's just say you're going down to get more wafers.
You have to show the card to get the wafers, or maybe it's just a discount.
Can anybody buy the wafers? Do you have to prove you're a card carrying Catholic?
Yeah,
Can you
just like
can you
anybody can buy a priest uniform and wear it. Anybody can be an ordained minister.
Anybody can order a archbishop to come over to the birthday party. If you can't get one of those inflatable houses with the kids bounce on it, you can get an archbishop. He'll come by and do the
I've always
party.
thought, instead of me spending all this money on the light up nativity scene
Yeah,
in front of my house, why not take that money and for one day during the season
Lent.
of Christmas have a passion play, pay some actors to come over and just do a passion play right on my lawn.
I think that's what got Prince Andrew in trouble, if you want to know. But I think that's where the whole damn thing started. He said, he said, and it all started with, I've got an idea. See, these guys, the royals got a little bored at home.
Well, they do that, Mikey. I mean, they're sitting around. The royal thing is widely overestimated as to what they have to do. I
They
mean,
got
yeah,
nothing,
they get Rolls Royces and carriages with horses and that whole thing, but there's only so many hours in a day you can do that stuff before it gets
Clip clop, clip clop. Here we go in the carriage again. God spare me.
Yeah, I don't want to see Mom, climbing up into that thing. It's unsightly.
Climbing up into that thing.
There's no graceful way to get in there without showing off your bloomers.
Well, I'm sure she loves Prince Andrew, as she must, but she cut him loose and she cut him rather dramatically, taking away all his military ranks, taking away all his royal patronage. He's got nothing. He's not a royal highness anymore.
Well,
and he was a royal highness, and he was a royal highness on Monday. Okay.
He was an HRH, yes.
And here it is Friday. And what do you got? You got a guy named Andy.
He's Andy.
He just hangs around in London.
And Andy Griffith, Andy Kaufman, Andy, he's just a celebrity named Andy now.
Same thing. There you go.
No better than living in Mayberry, which I would suggest he probably think about moving to.
He could do well in Mayberry. He could be on the city.
Okay in Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Be on the city council. Aunt B might want to get a new lock for the front door, but the short version is he could do well if he weren't in London. And all the teenage girls here know him now anyway. So it's time for another city. Tokyo. He would do well in Tokyo.
How are these people getting away with? I mean, I guess the next one that's gonna take up in this thing is Bill Clinton, right? I mean, he's the next big name that I guess is. Although we all know about Bill already.
If you were on the plane, you've got to explain.
Yeah, as Robert Shapiro might say.
Yeah.
I don't know how these guys get away with this. I don't know how Prince Andrew gets away with this thing. Is HRH Andrew there gets away without more happening to him?
You probably heard about the British series called The Crown, which ran, yes, which is not finished but is running, and they portray Prince Andrew as a randy little idiot who's getting in trouble with girls all the time and constantly getting rescued by the PR department of the Buckingham Palace. And if they had the guts to portray him in that light in a drama in which Prince Andrew did not have a big part because he's not a big part of the family,
right?
But if his reputation strayed all the way into the recreation of the crown vis-a-vis the personalities of the royal family, there must be something to it.
Every family has their fool, right?
They're Randy Andy.
Randy Andy. He
His mistake was he said he didn't sweat and he could prove it. Well, now I'm afraid he's
yeah.
going to have to.
Well, I think that the mistake was participating in that kind of thing. You know, I mean, that's the mistake. I mean, why in the world do you think? Well, I guess for centuries. I was going to say, why in the world do you think you would get away with that? But for centuries,
yeah,
people
exactly.
did get away with it.
Yeah.
And so there was no penalties. Everybody said, "Oh, that's Randy Andy." You know, that's how he is. He loves the young girls.
I'd like to see His Royal Highness. Well, it won't be long. You'll see it.
You'll be seeing him in ways you never thought you would.
Yeah, you'll get enough of Randy Andy. You won't want to see any more.
And the British have finally gotten past this whole, well, it can't hurt us. You know, it'll hurt us to show off a royal in this light.
Right.
You know, they've gotten past that. You know, ever since Trump, everything's open. You know, I mean, you can show people at their worst.
In fact, they're having some trouble over there with the prime minister too. Boris Johnson has got himself. He's having all these booze parties on the wrong day,
and trying to disguise them as work parties. They're work parties.
We were working, and we have the work product to show you. No, you got the empty bottles out there. I think there's got to be a British reporter just checking the garbage every day.
Oh yeah, I mean those you know, the British media. I mean, people think the media here is crazy and tenacious and nothing like the people who run the Daily Mail or the Sun.
They go through your garbage.
Yeah, I mean they go through your garbage and then they go through your garbage's garbage. I mean they go dig up stuff that was buried 50 years ago.
And they'll take a picture of your Royal Highness if you're not careful.
Yes, and the only way you stop them is when, like, Rupert Murdoch gets caught with a 14-year-old.
Well, you have to define caught because it's like being trapped between first and second. That's caught.
Yeah, 6 days at the Murdoch country estate would probably qualify as caught.
Yep, that would do it.
Yeah, if you have some young girl who came over to deliver a pizza, she doesn't leave for 6 days.
That's an indication.
That's a clear indication that something is not on the up and up.
And she only stayed because she was poor as a church mouse. You could hear her scurrying around the office.
Well, you know, that's the thing with these fine gentlemen of state and fame is
money, power, and position.
To pick on people who have nothing except their bodies, and
soon you don't have that.
Yeah, and soon you don't have that. Soon you know, and that's where this pimp or pimpette is the only way I can describe her. Ghislaine Maxwell came in because she, you know, more and more tried to. Succeeded in getting these types of girls, of women who had not much,
right?
And saying, we'll buy you a new dress, and we'll buy you this, and we'll buy you that, and we'll
take you to the Seychelles, and you'll never forget that trip.
Yeah, and you'll get to meet some famous people who can help you get out of poverty
and out of your panties.
And you have to get out of your panties before you get out of poverty.
One thing at a time. First bring me the church mouse, then take off the panties.
Yeah, come in and meet Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
going to show you his Royal Highness, so you just be prepared for that.
Yes, and it's not a pretty highness either.
Nope, I didn't say pretty, just royal.
As a matter of fact, it's as you know, I'm waiting for the latest testimony in the next trial, which will, I'm sure, center on Peyronie's disease.
Yes, of course. He went this way, but at the same time, he was going that way.
And if you go this way and that way, did you ever see a laddie go this way and that way? Oh, yes, Mr. Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
I hope, you know, my wish is that they catch these people and are able to prosecute them. And I don't know how many lives have they ruined? How many suicides have they committed?
Well, I think
Have they forced to be committed?
Yeah, Maxwell is going to cooperate now before her sentencing, and that's time for the Royal Highness and the ex-president and anybody else on the list.
Well,
and who else is on the list, by the way?
Trump, I think, is on the list, isn't he? Although I do believe, Michael, that much like her boyfriend slash boss slash lover slash scumbag, she will probably meet the same fate as he did.
He'll die suddenly with no explanation.
Yeah, in the jail cell. I just think that you can't have that kind of scandal.
Well, maybe they could keep her in the Tower of London. That's a secure place. Nothing untoward ever happened there.
Like I said,
and they have not church mice but tower mice, and they're starving.
If I'm her, if I'm Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm not eating anything on a tray.
Lunch, come on, dig in.
I'll go to the vending machine.
Yeah. The vending machine in the Tower of London. Oh God. Can you break a pound? Not in a way that you're going to like to experience.
Yeah.
No.
I'm ordering DoorDash or whatever they have over there. Palace Dash.
Hey, there's a delivery system here in Southern California called Go Puff, which was originally designed to deliver cannabis from manufacturer to the home. And now you know what they're delivering very successfully and doing a lot of? No, COVID tests.
Yeah, well, have you tried to get a COVID test?
I have not.
It's not the easiest thing in the world.
It's not the easiest thing.
You have to
get to know somebody.
You have to virtually resort to trickery.
Oh, like Prince Andy. Randy Andy would do that.
Randy Andy would have to, because they probably have stacks of COVID tests at Buckingham Palace or wherever he's hanging these days.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get him to live in one of the smaller palaces till this gets cleared up.
So does he? I mean, what happens with Randy Andy now? Is he kicked out of the palaces? Does he? I mean, he loses his HRH membership card.
Gone.
He can't go to LA Fitness anymore.
Nope, none of that. Beep. Sorry, your card doesn't clear. He can't even go to Pavilions or Safeway.
Wow. Does he get the yearly dividend check from Costco anymore that the royal family shares?
He might get one more, but then they're cutting him.
That's
he'll be poor as a what?
Church today, mouse. Right? I mean, is it like effective immediately?
He'll be poor as a church mouse. Well, he may have some walking around money, but after he walks around a little bit, he won't have that.
You know, it's so weird because, I mean, you think about this for a second. You know, storybooks have been written about Cinderella and all different people that so aspired to be in that, you know, royal realm.
The handsome prince.
And yet we have princes, last year that are saying, thank you, like a Las Vegas crap dealer.
Right.
Thank you, but no.
I'm going to go live in Santa Barbara, and I think I'll be happier.
Yeah. Carpinteria is nice this time of year. It's nice every time of year, so I'm going to go live there.
Yep.
With my beautiful wife, with my beautiful children, and, you can all take this royal thing and pack it. And you have now Randy Andy, who has decided that I want to hang on, but other people have made the decision for him.
Yeah.
And his signal is no longer his bat phone doesn't work, and all of the stuff. He's no longer a royal. So the royal family is losing people quicker than California.
Does he have to get back his sashes and his uniforms and his buttons and his medals and all that stuff? Because they're big on sashes. They're big. Everybody wears a sash, like a blue and a red sash. They wear it under their coat.
Did those sashes contain medals that were won in combat? If he won a medal in combat, not just for showing up, but actually doing something, I think you should be able to keep that medal.
I think you could count on him to show up. If you wanted him to do something, that's going to be extra.
Well, that's the key for me. You know, if you just showed up,
Nah,
yeah.
a church mouse can show up.
But if there's proof that you jumped on a landmine, saved some people, pushed somebody out of the way of a rolling lorry, something.
I think what happened is during the war, Randy walked into the village and talked up the girls. That was his thing.
Well, then you lose the.
So get back to.
But you should be made to wear the sash with nothing on it.
Just the sash.
Just the sash, because that, I believe, would be a sign of disgrace, would it not?
If that's all you're wearing, it's disgraceful. Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, because then your Royal Highness is certainly going to be showing.
It's going to be seen by a lot of people. It's going to be seen. It's going to be
out there.
Going to be seen by the people in Wales and Ireland and Scotland.
Just when you need, and the Bahamas as well, and Canada.
The Bahamas, and unfortunately, Canada is going to have to see it. And if they see it, we'll probably see it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you say to yourself, well, we have Justin Trudeau, and I think his HRH is probably a lot better than Randy Andy's.
Well, he's not a royal.
Look at one, at least give me Justin instead of what's Randy Andy, about 108?
He's younger than Prince Charles.
Because those damn people seem to live a long time.
Well, with the exception of Randy Andy, they have quiet lives. You know, they should be healthy.
Quiet lives that we see. What's the real story behind the palace walls?
Well, it starts with the Royal Highness and it goes downhill from there.
Yeah. See, I want to see what's really going on, because it seems that in the case of Randy Andy, what we thought was going on might have been a whole different thing as to what was really going on.
And the palaces are so large that there's stuff going on that you don't know is going on, because there's rooms and hallways and basements and garrets and all sorts of rooms and ante-rooms and extra rooms and hidden rooms.
I like ante-rooms. Is there an unky room too?
There's an uncle chamber.
Yeah, there's
chamber.
If you're gonna have an ante room, I want an unky room too.
We'll get that for you. And if not, we can just build one next to the ante room. We have an unlimited budget for construction.
You can probably split the ante room into two and make it an unky room and an ante room and be okay, could you?
It'd be fine for me, but you know, the royal family is a little more particular than you and I are.
Yeah, they change the sheets like every hour, right?
They get upset about things that wouldn't normally bother anybody else but them, like how you walk into a room or how you leave the room or how you wave when they drive by. Those things really get a lot of weight in their world.
Do they
like if you're going to go see the Queen, just walking into the room is a whole thing. You have to do it correctly or she's going to be affronted.
Right, you have to curtsy. And wasn't there a big crap show a couple of years ago? Who was it that walked in the room and didn't do it in the proper?
Trump.
Yes, thank you.
Trump and his strange wife, who was playing first base for the Bosnian softball team.
Well, why not? It doesn't seem like anybody's ever gotten past second with her.
They were told, they were told how to do it. They just couldn't remember. They couldn't hold the thought in their head. By the time they got through the door, it was gone.
Well, they probably thought they were
evaporated.
Better than anybody else there. So why not?
Even the church mice curtsy, you know, when they go in.
As they were eating the cheese, man, they picked up a little cheese, then they lift the dress up and go.
Well, because you remember the Queen's getting older now, rather old, and crumbs, lots of crumbs, cheese, crackers.
Oh yeah,
salmon
for all the shaking when she's putting the thing to her mouth.
Yeah. There's stuff for the church mice. They're poor, but they still get a meal now and then.
And British food, from what I remember, from what I've seen or what I've had, seems to fall apart easily.
That's why they have the brown sauce to hold it together.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true.
It starts to come apart, more brown sauce, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you watch those old British war movies, with Sean Connery and the like, and Michael
Sauce on everything.
They just take a little bit of brown sauce, stick it in there, mix it up, and it all comes together.
It congeals.
Congeals, yes.
That's how they won the war. Did the Germans have a brown sauce? No, they did not.
No, the Germans went with red cabbage, and look at where it got them.
And a lot of veal and potatoes.
Yeah, they seem to they seem to enjoy killing things before they reach maturity, didn't they?
Yeah, even like a baby church mouse hasn't got a prayer in Germany.
Yeah, they put it between, they bread it, fry it, and put it between two pieces of dark bread.
The Black Forest church mouse is a delicacy, and the crunchy little bones in their legs. Some people like them. It's not for me, but
yeah, I can't. It's like
I'll take the
frogs.
I'll go for the Wiener Schnitzel. Can we just have a nice Wiener Schnitzel and get past this business of eating the church mice?
Chop up the bones enough that I can't taste them.
Minced church mice bones with brown sauce.
Taking a serious left turn here. Not a good week for Joe Biden, was it?
The word and the headline today on CNN is doomed. Joe Biden's administration, thanks to Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin and all the Republican senators who side with those two merciless so-called Democrats. Joe Biden's ideas, his plans, his programs are doomed. And that would mean that we're going to have a Republican president next time.
Certainly seems like it. I mean, unless the American people wake up, which I got to tell you, I don't think it's going to happen.
No, they're not going to wake up.
Yeah. I mean, all of us that are thinking that, or anybody who's thinking, oh, there's going to be a revelation and these people are going to realize what a good president Joe Biden is and what a wonderful person Kamala Harris is.
We're going to have to move to Vancouver. You know that, Vinnie.
That first, being the first woman vice president doesn't mean jack if you're not getting anything done. And these people seem to be woefully inept at getting anything done.
Well, they're actually very talented at not getting things done. The Democrats have taken a page from the Republican book, and that is, we don't do anything. But that's not going to work for you in the long run. Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. We got elected last time. We're going to get elected this time. And here's how and it's foolproof. We do nothing, including vote. We don't want anyone to vote. We don't want anyone to come to the Senate. We don't want anyone to go to the House. We don't want anyone to do anything. And we will lead the way. We'll show you how to do nothing. And all we need is a couple Democrats to go along with us. And Joe Manchin's right there. And Kirsten Sinema's right there. Their hands are in the air. Their skirts are in the wind. And they say, we can do nothing. And we do it as well as the Republicans do. Well, let's see your act. Let's see you do nothing. Let's prove it to me.
Well,
and they're doing it. They're proving it.
Just before we started the show, I was listening to Joe Biden, and he was making another speech. I got some advice for the Biden advisors. Don't put them on TV so much.
Stop talking.
Stop talking. If you can't provide action, stop talking about what you like to do.
Stop telling me what you would have done if you'd only had the opportunity.
Right. And so he comes on and he spends 2 minutes talking about Build Back America Better, this, that, And then he goes into this long soliloquy about pollution and about the environment and about tapping wells in Western Pennsylvania and doing this and doing that. And I'm sitting there going, people right now
are tuning out.
Don't care. As much as global warming is hurting us, it's not what people are concerned about right now. People are concerned about, am I going to be alive for the next election?
And there's
Where
been
do I get
800.
a COVID
Yeah,
test?
can't get it.
How do I get my kids back in school? How do I go to work without fear of contracting a disease from the guy sitting at the desk next to me? And he's addressing none of this. He's telling me how this and that and the other thing, and you got to fix this, and union jobs and this and that. I'm sorry, but people don't want to hear it.
And there's been nearly $800 billion of storm and weather damage in the United States just in the past, since summertime. And America doesn't care. America doesn't care. Wait, you wiped out all these cities in the Midwest with a tornado. Well, that's awful. We don't care. Wait, we had a fire in Colorado and over 500 homes burned in a half an hour. Well, that's awful. But please understand, we don't care.
Yeah. Right now, America cares about itself.
What about Kirsten Sinema? Isn't anyone going to take the cannoli and leave the gun?
No, Mikey, because Biden has this
This dream.
this fantasy that he's going to be able to negotiate with these people. He's going to be able to make them see the light.
They've seen the light.
And they seen the light. The light is all about self-gain, self-preservation.
It's a green light if I keep doing what I'm doing. It's a red light if I vote with Biden.
Right. Because he has there's no incentive for anybody to jump on the Biden bandwagon. He is now being seen, I think, more and more, especially after this week. It's a one-term president. He's the Jimmy Carter of our time.
Could be.
So far.
Well, are the Republicans going to run somebody against Trump? It's going to be that's going to be a difficult thing to do.
And somebody is going to run against Trump. As I said, somebody with a more centrist, maybe not even with a more centrist view, but somebody who's slicker.
The DeSantis.
Yeah, I don't know if he's slick enough. I don't think this. I mean, maybe, but I'm not.
Well, Ted Cruz wants to be president. Can he please be president?
No, because he's too much of a. I mean, he makes President Slapdick look like he's smart.
Looks like he's organized.
Cruz. See, the problem with Cruz is he says one thing at 9 o'clock and another thing at 9:30 and another thing at 10. And he's not afraid. And I think he hurt himself so badly this week by going on with that scumbag on Fox,
Biff Jiggerman.
Biff Jiggerman, and publicly kissing His Royal Highness.
The downside to that is he's going to have to eat the church mice. He's going to have the minced church mice legs, and he's going to have to say they're delicious on camera. And we know they're not, but he's going to claim that they are, and that'll be the end of him forever. But
you got to watch Cruz because Cruz is a scary guy because he is smart. Yeah, he's smart in that he's not PR smart, but he's smart enough to put together this, and that. See, the only way Trump can do it is by wielding finance, by power.
Fear,
right. Trump is almost your prototypical mob boss.
Well, then we're going to have to run a Republican, a Democrat, and then a Trump. And that'll split the Republican vote. Now that could be the paving the way toward a successful campaign for whoever is running against the Republicans. Right. And of course, there will be Democrats who say Joe's too old. Joe didn't get it done. I could have talked some sense into Joe Manchin.
But they're lining up already.
I could have had a pizza with Kirsten Sinema, and she would have seen the light.
And as I said to you when we started this week off, and I still believe it to be true, number one on that list is Joe Manchin. He's
going to have to take these negatives and make them seem positive, and that's going to be difficult.
It's going to be difficult, but not possible. I mean, remember, Joe Biden was dead in the water halfway through the primary season.
Well, that could happen again if we have 20 candidates. Remember how many candidates we had?
Right. We got the Democrats are going to have to sit down at a table with each other and say, okay, who is it?
Well, who is it? Think yourself. It's not going to be Biden. It's not going to be Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
So who's it going to who's on the list? I don't see a list.
Right now, you're
it.
not going to see it because people really don't want to. There has to be conversations going on though, in different offices and hallways and rooms saying we're not going to do this again in 2024.
No, but let's see how awful things turn out in 2022
We'll lose by a landslide. Unless there's a war or some kind of wag the dog situation, you know.
You mean Putin would actually play into our hands?
Anything's Mikey. Anything's possible.
I don't see U.S. troops on the ground in Ukraine. I don't see that.
Don't need troops on the ground anymore. I mean, really, the reality, what war would you need troops on the ground for? What kind of war? I mean, you have now drones and video games that have killer weapons on the other end of them. You can sit in a bunker in Colorado in a mountain and run the whole thing from there. And once you obliterate the other side or they obliterate you, then you can send humans in.
You know, when you're working in those Colorado bunkers, don't put down your tuna fish sandwich because they have mice too.
Oh, they're big mice.
That sandwich will be gone. And yeah, and they also have prairie dogs, which are just bigger mice.
That's where the pizza rat was born, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza rat was born in Colorado and imported to New York.
And moved to New York for opportunities.
Took a train from Denver, right, clear on through to New York City.
Right to Times Square.
Well, Penn Station, yeah.
Well, Penn Station.
Yeah. Right up the stairs, saw a piece of pizza, said that's lunch, put it in his teeth, and took it right back down the stairs.
And had to do it again for the camera, but he was a professional. He was a media professional.
Yeah, if you're living he became media savvy. So I don't know, Mikey. I mean, I think the Democrats better be having these meetings and better be figuring out who is going to be their candidate in 2024, not waiting around for another year.
There might not even be an election if the Supreme Court decides that that type of patriotism and structure to our democracy is too much of a burden. Just like they demanded yesterday that safety in the workplace is something to be eschewed. It's not important. It's just not a factor. In fact, the laws should just say your boss can make you do whatever you want in any environment, and you've got nothing to say about it.
Except have an abortion.
You can't have that either.
We don't want you to have. We don't want you to have. If the boss says have an abortion, it's illegal. And that person that's next to you can call up the 1-800 number and turn you in, and they'll be rewarded for that.
10 grand.
10 grand if you're your.
Is anybody collected on that? Has anyone got the 10 grand? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think it's a loss leader. It's like buying the washing machine that's bolted to the floor.
Yeah, it's the $199.95 stainless steel washer that actually doesn't exist.
No, I'll take this one. Well, we're out.
We're out. You have to buy that $700 one over there.
But I want this one. No, that one.
COVID.
COVID. Yeah, COVID. You can't get it. No, you don't want it.
We're having a raging debate up here about supply chain. So I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
When you go into a supermarket down in Southern California or a store, are the shelves empty or are they fairly full? I mean,
there's plenty to choose from. There are no empty shelves.
Okay.
In that store or any other store that I've been in.
Because I'm of the opinion that the media has not much to do right now. So they have to invent the crisis.
You ever been in a newsroom? There's nothing on their shelves. That's the problem.
Right. Somewhere at MSNBC or CNBC or Fox, a vending machine ran out of stuff because the guy who does the vending machine couldn't get there that day.
Well, Vinnie, they ran out of corn nuts. Now, who's going to stand for that? I have to put my foot down. Okay.
And some editor at Fox said, well, we want to make this. I mean, this is what, I mean, what more do we need to get Biden out of office?
This is it. The
than
corn
to,
nut shortage.
Start spreading the news about a shortage of everything. Go to Safeway, buy everything up on the shelves, put it in a shopping cart, then take some pictures after you buy everything up.
There you go. Ever been to a Pilot gas station out in the desert?
Yes.
You think they're short of anything? They got stuff there. They got more stuff, and you can take a shower.
It's the only place where you can still buy a CB radio, America's original social media.
And they'll help you install it, change your wipers, and you're on your way. They got stuff at a gas station like that. It's a small city.
And you think Pilot is good. This summer, I am planning on taking a trip to Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's. I don't know that.
Buc-ee's, Buccees, Buc-ee's.
Is that the name of a mouse?
The world's largest gas stations.
Where are they? Where can I find one?
They're predominantly in Texas and the South, although they are slowly inching their way up north. And
they're on. You can find them on the interstate.
Yeah, they're truck stops / gas stations / shower. And there are several people on YouTube that have made a career out of spending 24 hours in a Buc-ee's. Because they have everything you need to humanly
start the watch. I'll be here for 24 hours.
They have breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have all sorts of supermarket items, sundries, both travel size and regular.
Do they have notions? Do they have notions?
They have notions. They have phosphates. You can actually get a cherry phosphate.
Oh, that is so cool. Last guy I heard talking about cherry phosphates was Captain Beefheart, and he's dead.
Yeah, too many cherry phosphates.
Possibly.
So Buc-ee's, the immediate thing you notice about when you go into Buc-ee's is they have like 700 gas pumps.
The idea that there's no gas is not appreciated. That's a rumor.
Right. So there's gas. They have 700 gas pumps. You go inside the Buc-ee's, and it's virtually a cow palace full of stuff, from little tiny models of cars all the way up to fringed jackets.
Oh, I want one of those, a Buc-ee's fringed jacket.
The only thing in perusing the Buc-ee's websites, the only thing that I did not see, and I think this is partially where America took a left turn when it wasn't supposed to, is I can't find any beaded belts.
That can't be right. That would be the natural place for it. It would be a Buc-ee's beaded belt.
Right. I bought several beaded belts at Stuckey's. If you remember Stuckey's, America's bathroom.
Yep.
Before there was a place you could take a shower, you could just go into Stuckey's and do your business in the bathroom and clean up, get back in the car and go.
Off you go.
And pick up a 29-cent pecan roll, for doing it.
And beaded belts at Stuckey's. Yeah,
they had beaded. Every state you went to that had a Stuckey's had beaded belts for that state in there. I had several of them. And it's almost impossible to find beaded belts.
Is that because there's a bead shortage or a belt shortage?
I just don't think people are wearing them anymore, Mikey.
Well, if you don't have any, it's pretty hard to wear one.
I think that, besides the Mikey and Vinnie prayer cloth.
Those are good. But we don't have a beaded prayer cloth. We should get one.
Well, or maybe a Mikey and Vinnie beaded belt.
Oh, that would be so hot.
I mean, I think that that's something that we, you want to talk about make America great again. How the hell can you have a country that's going to be great if you don't have beaded belts?
This is a turning point in Americans' history. Either we're going to become a country where you can get a beaded belt, or we're become a second-rate third world nation where beaded belts are just a memory.
many jobs would be created by people wearing beaded belts again?
Especially if you wanted a Mikey Vinnie custom beaded belt.
I think this is something, Mikey, that we have to look into.
And they get the call letters on there too, but the radio station has to pay for that.
Right. Right now, it's just Mikey and Vinny, but we would sell sponsorships
Oh yeah,
on the beaded belts.
we can be bought.
Oh, immensely. Matter of fact, we can be bought on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a yearly basis, a 10-year deal, or just a 5-minute segment.
And if you're a millionaire or recently dismissed millionaire like Randy Andy, you can get a one price. And if you're as poor as a church mouse, we'll give you another price. But the beaded belt is there for everybody to have.
Well, we are an all access
Media phenomenon.
enterprise.
Yeah.
We believe that everybody in America should have at least one beaded belt in their closet. And we prefer that when you sit down, you sit on our faces.
Well, hadn't thought of it quite that way, but you're right.
I mean,
Right again, Vin. Yeah, there you go. By the way, have you got a show this weekend, tomorrow?
oh yes, I do.
Does it have anything to do
Tomorrow
with beaded belts or church mice or beaded belts?
We will talk about beaded belts, but we will spend the entire day revealing our top 5 cars that I did not want to give back last year. Which are the 5 cars of all the cars? And I drove 120 cars last year. Out of all those cars, which were the 5 that I think are the best, the 5 that I did not, that they had it ripped from my hands.
My cold dead hands.
My cold dead hands when they came to pick those cars up and take them back to the rightful owner. Cars that I spent the morning at the motor vehicle department trying to have the title put into my name.
Just do it.
Just do it. Nobody's looking. Blame it on COVID.
Yeah, we'll switch the plates. No one will know. It'll disappear into the hubbub.
And I'll just tell the car company, hey, they stole it.
They stole it. Who did? They did.
If
They
I knew
stole
who
it.
it was, I would tell you.
Yeah, it could have been the
Meanwhile,
church
don't look
mice.
at my garage.
No, and don't look here. Don't look there. Don't look.
Right. Just go away. Bring me another car. Anyway, so we'll reveal that tomorrow. Even producer Nathan has his favorite car of the year.
And what is it? The Isetta?
We tell not what it is. Funny you mentioned the Isetta, because that was the picture that we used when we put last week's show about the cars of Elvis. When Elvis got to Germany, the first thing he did was buy an Isetta.
And that was an Italian car, but he bought the German version.
And it was an Italian car that was also, it was a collaboration between the Germans and Italians, and we all know how that goes.
That, yeah, it was fine until Mussolini found out what hanging upside down was all about.
Did they hang him first or his girlfriend first?
Well, I hope her so that he could enjoy her speedy demise. But I wasn't there, so I couldn't tell you. It looked like they both went up pretty close to one another.
I always wondered about that. Who did they hang first? Just as who took the poison first, Ava or Adolf?
He was selfish, so I'd say he did. He went number 1.
See, I'm thinking, yeah, because you don't get Hitler as a guy who was holding doors for people.
No, never did it. Never did it.
Didn't have a lot of chivalry going on there.
Yeah, the Teutonic Knights were not chivalrous.
No.
What time's your show tomorrow? 8 o'clock, I think.
8 o'clock up here in the West, 11 o'clock in the East, and 4:27 if you are tuning in Texas.
From a Buc-ee's.
From a Buc-ee's, which I think is the number 1 state is Texas. So, so we'll talk about, we won't talk about Buc-ee's. We'll save Buc-ee's for another week. But Mikey, go online and look at the sheer amount of people who do videos about spending 24 hours at a Buc-ee's.
And can I get a garish T-shirt if I were to go there?
Well, Bucky Beaver is the
That's their mascot.
that's their mascot, and they have plenty of Bucky Beaver merchandise.
Is he an actual beaver or he's just a big church mouse?
He looks like somebody bought the rights to Alvin
Oh, I see.
and just kind of rejiggered it around a little bit so it looked like a beaver instead of
There are no singing beavers, but there are singing chipmunks. So they just said, "We need a beaver." Alvin, can you help us out? Can you help
And
us
Alvin
out?
just said, "I just want a hula hoop,"
That's what he always says.
Yeah. So that's what we have going on tomorrow. It'll be a fun show as always, and cast of thousands, and we'll be broadcast here on Facebook as well as on KKNW in Seattle in the Northwest, and online and podcasted. And by the time it's all over, you'll be able to hear the show in your sleep.
Speaking of your car show, did Ronnie Spector ever have a famous car? Did she drive was she a Cadillac person, or I can't see her in a Volkswagen?
I haven't researched it. I know Phil was a car collector.
Yeah, he had a driver.
Yeah, Phil had Phil had a number of high performance cars, but I'll have to research that. I'll have to look. Yeah, we did as everybody by now has noted, Ronnie Spector left us earlier this week, and if you grew up when we grew up,
Then you were Ronettes. You were with the Ronettes.
You loved the Ronettes.
And you wondered how the hell they did their hair, because take a look at the pictures. It cannot be done. You can't get hair to do that.
Yeah, and an interesting, and one of the things that I so respected about Bruce Springsteen and Miami Steve is when they started to get famous, the first person that they paid homage to was not Gary U.S. Bonds.
Although close, they got to him.
But Ronnie Spector, who they released a single with, "Say Goodbye to Hollywood," with Ronnie Spector and the E Street Band, which I still have the picture sleeve edition of on 45. And she never let the abuse that she took at the hands of Phil, or I'm sure many others, creep into the music.
It certainly truncated and abbreviated her career, though. That was a shame.
Yeah. Darlene Love was able to do what Ronnie Spector couldn't, which was to develop past just singing Goffin and Spector songs.
Yeah.
And Darlene Love, was able to, was smart enough, was not beholden, was enough of a person who was willing to look at Phil Spector's face and say, "Screw you." Where Ronnie was married to him, so she couldn't, because you can only imagine the stuff that went on with Phil Spector in his later, more mature years.
Oh God,
definitely went on with Ronnie.
Yes.
And
it was not a match made in heaven. It was not a good marriage.
Well, what were they, 14 years old when Ronnie met him?
She was a cute 14-year-old.
Yeah. And Phil liked those much as Handy Andy there, like the 14-year-olds.
Yep.
So
was she from the Bronx?
I think Manhattan. I want to say Manhattan, but I'm not sure. I think she was from Manhattan. No, I'd have to look. But rest in peace, Ronnie. You're with your sister now, and you gave us so much good music. I mean, I saw her live a couple of times, and she could really, even when she was 60,
still bring it.
She could belt it out. She still had it. And, again, just one of those sad stories of rock and roll where so much potential, but because of some guy who wanted to control her, never was able to be reached.
And as they say in the leader of the pack, look out, look out, look out.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And, Now you don't have that problem as much. Now, I don't think Billie Eilish will ever know what Ronnie Spector had to go through so that
Well,
Billie Eilish could be Billie Eilish.
let's hope not. Anyway, she's still living at home with her parents and her brothers, so things are a little more stable in her.
Which is just the greatest move in the world. You
Yeah.
gotta love a million seller out rock star that lives at home with their parents.
In right down the street in Mount Washington. In fact, it's a nice neighborhood, and it is a mountain. Whereas Jackson Heights doesn't have a height, Mount Washington actually has a mountain. So,
well, when I said that, I was wrong. There is one hill in Jackson Heights that
perfect.
runs.
So we only needed one
till about 87th Street, and between 32nd and 30th Avenues. And it was the one hill where we always took the bikes and.
It's where the doctors lived.
Well, as a matter of fact, there was Dr. Gold was on Dr. Arnold was on the corner of 83rd and 32nd, and Dr. Valicenti was on the corner of 81st and 31st.
And as Groucho Marx would say, hello there, I'm Dr. Hackenbush.
He was on 89th.
He had a nice office.
A great office.
A little different.
Ground floor office in a 3-family house.
There you go.
It's how it worked in those days. You didn't go to the hospital to see the doctor. You went to the ground floor of the basement apartment of some house.
And there was Groucho and Chico and Harpo and Zeppo and Gummo all waiting in
the office going, what do you have?
Yeah. Well, what do you want?
What do you want? We'll give it to you. We have a fine selection of diseases right here.
And today you're lucky we're having a bit of a sale. 20%.
Well, we have a lot of COVID that we want to get rid of.
We're having a surge, so you don't want to miss out on that.
Right. And we have all the tests you need. Take a handful. We used to give out lollipops. Now we give out COVID tests.
Miss Groucho. He'd have something sensible to say about the world that we live in.
Yes. I wonder what he would say about the world we live in as he would look at it and go, hello, I must be going.
I'm getting out of here.
All right,
have a good weekend, Vinny. Have a good show tomorrow.
You have a good weekend, and I will catch up with you Monday morning at 10:10 if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise.
Wasn't the creek rising in central Washington there for a while? It was like flooding.
It has gone up and it's back down again in most places.
Ah, good.
So I think we're it's nice out and we're stable, and I believe that.
Did they dig everyone out of Wenatchee? Was there any survivors?
You know what? I don't look much at Wenatchee these days.
Vinny.
They did you wrong, so I don't acknowledge they're a city.
Well, one little building did me wrong, but the rest of the town is, well, it's a mystery.
Well,
it's a bit of a mystery.
We could go over and do a show from the lobby of the Hotel Bruce.
We should pick another place. Let's go to I know a Thai restaurant. We'd be better off there.
Is the Hotel Bruce a little scary?
It's just depressing, and I don't think that'd be the best environment for the show. Okay. The church mice in Hotel Bruce are so poor. How poor are they? They're so poor.
They're so poor that they give to the Shriners Hospital.
There you go. That's how poor they are.
That's how poor they are. So those two little kids can have their 28th and 29th operation.
And where do we get minced mice bones? Only in Germany. With brown sauce if you're lucky.
Is that all we learned today?
That's all I learned. I don't know. Maybe you picked up on something about Kirsten Cinema that I can't understand.
She's picturesque. Don't forget to watch the playoffs this weekend. We'll talk about them on Monday because we really don't know who's going to win.
Quickly, do you think it will be Raiders and Bengals?
I think the Bengals got that one.
Patriots and Bills?
I'll go with the Bills.
Eagles, Bucks?
I will go with I got to go with Tom Brady, right?
Yeah. 49ers, Rams. I'm sorry, 49ers, Cowboys.
Boy, there's a classic, huh? I'm going to go with the 49ers.
Cardinals and Rams.
I'll take the Cardinals.
And lastly, Stillers,
Thank you.
and I can't read my handwriting.
Kansas City.
Chiefs. There you go. That's what I wrote.
Yes. Ben Roethlisberger's possible last hurrah. I think Roethlisberger figures out, and Tomlin and company, I'll figure out a way to win this game.
Is AJ Watt going to play? Because he seemed to be on the questionable.
I don't know if TJ is going to play. I have not looked yet this morning to see what the.
I don't see how you can beat the Chiefs without him.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. He is going to wind up playing.
Good. That gives the Stillers a chance.
I don't know how anybody bets football these days, man, with COVID. I mean, you don't know. You could have the best defensive line of football, and they could all go down into COVID protocol on Saturday night.
Well, if you have any doubts about where to place your bet, the NFL will help you.
Yes, they're
yeah.
Yes, they are full on now, just a betting machine, aren't they?
Every once in a while, you turn on ESPN and you realize this is not a sports show. This is a betting show. What the hell am I watching here?
Right. And for this, and I know it's a different sport, but for this, Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays were not allowed to go near a baseball stadium for close to 10 years. Not because they bet like Pete Rose, which is the difference, but only because they did ads for a casino in Atlantic City.
Whereas Casey Stengel did an ad for a savings and loan, which is a well-known home for thieves, and they didn't complain about that.
They love Casey.
And Stacy. They love Stacy. And so does Prince Andrew. He loves Stacy.
He loves Stacy's in 4 countries.
And there goes His Royal Highness now. I can see it glimmering in the sun.
And none of them ended in a vowel.
No. Most of them ended in the hospital.
Mikey, peace, love, Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you then.
All right.